Coming up on the Paper Talks today, we'll be looking at some potential incomings. It looks like Manchester United could be in for Michael Olise and one or two others perhaps. Also, what is happening with Jadon Sancho? Is he heading to Dortmund or what? Let's find out. Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it is very wet and a bit windy as well. So make sure you've got your parkers on. Loads of stories to get through. Some of them we covered last night on Transfers Live. It's no longer Paddock Live, it's Transfers Live because we are in the January transfer window. Others are new, but we'll go through them all anyway because there's quite a few stories doing the rounds about Manchester United Football Club. If you're not doing already, give us a like. And if you're not doing, make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Let's get to 750,000 subscribers by, I don't know, the end of this week. Right, first of all, let's just have a little bit of a revamp. No. Let's go over some of the stories we covered last night that are still doing the rounds this morning. One story is about Onana. Onana going to the African Cup of Nations, AFCON. Now, the latest story doing the rounds, and we've seen this from David Ornstein and elsewhere, is that Onana is going to play against Wigan, and he's also going to play against Spurs on the 14th of January, my birthday in case you're wondering, and then he's going to go to AFCON where Cameroon play Guinea on the 15th of January. Now, whether he's going to play in that game remains to be seen, but it's 23 hours after the Spurs game, so it's a bit of a tight squeeze, but apparently I think it's Rigobert Song, the Cameroon manager's okayed it, and the club have spoke to the Cameroon FA, and it's all been, green lit that he can play in the Spurs game and then go to the African Cup of Nations. Now, some people might look at this and go, we've just bought a keeper, Bayandé, who played a lot of games for Fenerbahce. I think he's got about 15 caps for Turkey. He's not a complete novice, and you think, why couldn't he play in the Spurs game, even the Wigan game if you need him to? You've also got Tom Heaton here. Again, I mean, you wouldn't say Tom Heaton's someone who, I like Tom Heaton, who you'd put in net week in, week out in the Premier League for Manchester United. But I think in terms of a one-off game against Spurs, I wouldn't be against him playing, and I wouldn't be against Bayandé or Bayandé being given a chance. So it does seem a little bit strange that United are going all out for this one game, but Onana is our first choice goalkeeper, so if you look at it that way, it does make sense. If you can make an arrangement or an agreement that sees him playing in the game against Spurs, which is obviously a huge game for Manchester United, then why not? So I just feel, for me, it's probably detrimental to Cameroon if they've got their goalkeeper on a flight, for a long flight, a day before he's got to play in an African Cup of Nations game. If he even plays in that game, they might rest him for that game. I don't know. But yeah, that one is doing the rounds. So we'll see what happens. It looks like he's going to play against Wigan, certainly, and also Spurs as well, which is a little bit of a surprise because I don't think any of us expected him to do that with his team playing on the 15th of January. Less than a day or just the day after the Spurs game. In other news as well, Dan Ashworth has become the talk of the town, if you forgive me. There was a story last night, it's doing the rounds again, that he could be heading to Manchester United. This has been doing the rounds for quite a while. Now, Craig Hope, I think, is from the Daily Mail. He spoke about this, and basically the latest reports are that Newcastle aren't denying these rumours that he could be heading to Old Trafford. And you think that if he wasn't coming to United, they'd just go, well, that's not true. He's not going anywhere. But it looks like he could be coming. Now, there's a story in the Metro about how Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to completely revamp Manchester United's recruitment department, and Dan Ashworth looks like he could be a part of that, alongside someone like Paul Mitchell, him working with Paul Mitchell, also bringing in obviously the likes of Jean-Claude Blanc and Dave Brailsford overseeing everything to give the recruitment department a bit of a revamp. We know in the past you've had this sort of scattergun approach to recruitment. Our recruitment, let's face facts, post Sir Alex Ferguson, has been absolutely woeful. It just has. We've wasted millions of pounds. We're still, even recently, some of the signings you look at and you go, was that value for money? Even under Eric Ten Hag, probably not. So it looks like there's going to be a complete revamp, which we kind of expected, and it makes sense. Dan Ashworth could be heading to Old Trafford. We'll keep you posted on some of the other names I've mentioned as well. We know Dave Brailsford is already here. He's been in Carrington alongside Sir Jim Ratcliffe, meeting the players, meeting the staff, doing the sort of meet and greet stuff. So we'll wait and see how that develops and what it means in terms of the changes that they're going to bring to Manchester United. On the outgoings front, Jadon Sancho, Florian Plettenberg, who works for Sky Sports Germany, friend of the channel, he's been on here many times. He was on here, on the channel, talking about Jadon Sancho coming to United a few years ago, if you remember, and he got that one right, by the way. He's saying the agreement has been reached, a verbal agreement done between Borussia Dortmund and Manchester United in terms of Jadon Sancho being loaned back to his former club. It makes sense. all round this move. Jadon Sancho, obviously falling out with the manager, isn't getting any game time, isn't even training with the first team, he's training with the Resis or the academy. He's having to eat his dinner out of a lunchbox, he's having to get changed with the doors locked because of safeguarding issues, because he's training around lads classed as children. It's just a farce and not a very funny one. So him going back to Dortmund, where he obviously shone, makes a lot of sense. He can get his career going again, and Manchester United can just get what has become a problem out the door and far away from the football club. It's a bit of a no-brainer. Looks like that one is going to get over the line. Apparently, they want him sooner rather than later. They want to get him for they're doing some sort of warm weather training, I think, in Marbella. They want to get him down there for that, which he's done all right there, hasn't he? He's gone from, eating his dinner out of a packed lunch with kids to going in training in Marbella. But as always, we'll keep you posted on that one. But I trust Florian Plettenberg, and he's got good sources over there in Germany. It looks like this one is going to happen completely any day now. His verbal agreement's done. You can't imagine the player not wanting to go back to his former club, especially when you look at the torrid time he's having here at Manchester United, and you can't see any issues with Manchester United wanting him out the door. So it looks like you can file that one under it's happening. Just another transfer rumour as well, before I forget. We've been linked with, I saw this in Caught Offside, Brazilian midfielder Ederson. This is a 24-year-old. Apparently, he does play for Atalanta. He scored 5 goals in all competitions this season. I saw this in Caught Offside, and it's come from Goal Brazil. And I looked at it and I thought, okay, I'll mention it because it's a story doing the rounds, and it's my job to mention stories that are doing the rounds. I don't put too much weight in it. For starters, I think that they're going to be asking for quite a bit of money. And secondly, I don't think that would be a priority buying a 24-year-old from midfielder from Atalanta right now. Also, we've had our pants pulled down, haven't we, in terms of transfer fees from Atalanta. I'm not saying that the likes of Amad Diallo and Rasmus Højlund aren't good players. I think they are. And I think they can both still do a job for Manchester United. Well, of course, Højlund can still do a job, but even Diallo, I think, can do a job for Manchester United. But Atalanta aren't a club that sells players on the cheap, and I don't see Manchester United going in for this Brazilian lad and paying a lot of money for him. But it's one to keep an eye on, and we will do. Also, as well, Michael Olise. This one's been doing the rounds quite a lot. Came from the London Evening Standard. It looks like Manchester United have some concrete interest in him. Doesn't look like it's going to be in January. This transfer, if it is going to happen, looks like it will happen in the summer. This is a kid who can play on the right-hand side. I think he can also play as a 10 as well. Left-footed, likes to cut in. Having a really good season. He's in a bit of a purple patch, as everyone knows I love to say. I think it's 5 goals and 1 assist in 9 Premier League games this season. Great numbers. Bigger numbers than he usually puts up. 22 years old, though, and this could be him sort of becoming a really top-level player. I know he's a top-level player in terms of playing in the Premier League, but I mean an elite player. And this is kind of what you'd expect Manchester United to be doing now. We might have to start buying players who are on the cusp rather than players who are fully established. We bought players like Harry Maguire, like Paul Pogba, like Romelu Lukaku, like Angel Di Maria, who were established sort of at the peak or even coming up to the peak for massive amounts of money, and it didn't work out. And from what we gather, the sort of the reports that we're getting is United's approach is going to be slightly different under Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I know he's in charge of footballing matters, and Dave Brailsford. So buying 22-year-olds who look like they're about to become the big thing might be a way forward. I know we've spent a lot of money on young players like the of Jadon Sancho and Anthony, but if we can get someone like Michael Olise and it isn't extortionate amounts of money, it makes a lot of sense. We're going to be back later on with Off the Bar. We've got myself, we've got Joe Smith, we've got Stephen Howson, we've got Adam McCullers coming in as well, so make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Loads of other videos up on the channel. If you've not had a chance, go and check out Howson Versus. Very, very funny video from Stephen Howson. Don't forget as well to subscribe. I'm Jay Motty outside. Well, it's clearing up here at Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.